Hello everyone, welcome to the 101% podcast where we talk about mindset, motivation, discipline, how to always push yourself, how to become a beast and how to defeat struggle. This podcast will help you to get a better life, that's 101% for sure. I'm your host Joakim and together with me is the co-host and my sister Annika. Welcome to this podcast.
Good morning, Annika.
Good morning. Have you done something good for yourself today?
Today? Yes, actually, I have. I did eat 2 bananas and drank 2 cups of coffees. Yeah, I have. It have been some working this morning. I have educate myself more in the podcast business. Did that for a couple of hours, and after that, eat some breakfast with my daughter and have some good talk with she, and then I drive she to school. So it was a good morning. After that, went home and start working again. What about you?
That is awesome hustle. I've also had a very good day, thank you. I've been using a lot of time on mental preparations for my fight and looking into more personal development. And I actually came across this one quote that I wanted to share with you guys in the beginning of this episode. To attract better, you have to become better. You can't do the same things and expect change. Transform your mindset. Upgrade your habits. Think positive. Be hopeful and consistent with your evolution. It all starts with you and how you feel about yourself.
Great start of this episode. I think you have to attract better. That's about the mindset. You have to want to do it better and start to do things better and better. And then things will, of course, be better.
Of course, and I remember you told us in an earlier episode that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And it is as easy as that. If you want to become better, you need to attract better. And you need to fuel your mind with the right things. You need to stay positive and you need to make better choices to get better results. So you have a big responsibility in how your results will become.
Absolutely. So that's a good way to think about it. So shall we just jump into today's episode with the head first?
Yes, I'm very eager for this one, actually. This is something that we have mentioned many times and that we have told our listeners that we will dedicate an entire episode for, because it is something that is very accurate for us, both of us, and for many people that we know. And it is a social problem. This is a difficult topic. It makes it difficult in relations and for the society and for individuals that struggle with it. But can it also have some positive effects? Like, can it be a resource? So I'm very hyped to learn more about this and dig deep together with your listeners.
Okay, so in today's episode, we'll talk about addictive personalities. There we're diving deep into the hidden traits of addicted personalities. Subscribe and stay tuned for more inspiring content. If this episode inspires you, share it to inspire someone else. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's get started.
So here are some of the key traits for addictive personalities. We have core traits associated with addictive personalities, and we have biological and environmental factors. We have types of addiction beyond substances, brain chemistry, and reward pathway. We have the cycle of addiction, therapy, and last but not least, our own pros and cons with our addictive personalities. Fasten your seatbelt and get ready. Let's get started.
All right. Addictive personality is not a clinical diagnosis, but rather a set of personality traits that may increase susceptibility to addiction. An addictive personality refers to a set of personality traits that may make an individual more susceptible to developing addictive behaviors. Key traits often include impulsivity. People who are more impulsive may be more likely to seek immediate reward, make them prone to addictive behaviors. And then we have risk-taking. A willingness to take risk can lead individuals to experiment with substances or behaviors that have potential for addiction, such as gambling, drugs, and risky social behavior. And sensitivity to stress is another one. People with addictive tendencies may have difficult managing stress and negative emotions, and they may turn to substance or addictive behaviors as a way to cope. High emotional reactivity, another one. Those with high emotional reactivity might experience intense emotional highs and lows, which could drive them to seek solace in addictive substance or habit to regulate their mood. And you have obsessive and compulsive trait. This can involve an intense focus on a single interest or activity, which might translate into addictive patterns, particularly if they actively is accessible and rewarding, like gaming or shopping. And another one, low tolerance for frustration. A need for instant gratification can lead to addictive behaviors, as the person seeks immediately relief from feeling and frustration of dissatisfaction. And then another one, social alienation or introversity. Some people with addictive tendencies may feel socially isolated or struggle to form close connection. And addictive behaviors can sometimes provide a substitute for genuine social interaction.
And to look more into the core traits associated with this, so as Joakim mentioned, we have impulsivity, a need for excitement, low tolerance of boredom, or seeking instant gratification. Many people can have difficulty coping with stress. Those who struggle with managing stress or negative emotion may turn to substances or behaviors as coping mechanisms. Escaping through addictive behaviors can become a go-to method for managing or avoiding uncomfortable feelings. Another trait is low self-esteem. People with lower self-worth may be more prone to addiction, often as a way to numb insecurities or cope with feelings or inadequacy. Substances or addictive behaviors can temporarily boost their confidence or relieve feelings of unworthiness. Another one is sensitivity to reward and pleasure. Individuals who experience heightened pleasure or satisfaction from certain activities, like gambling or drinking or eating, may be more inclined to repeat these behaviors. The brain's reward system can be especially responsive, making it harder for them to resist. And compulsiveness. Compulsive behavior, whether it is a need to achieve perfection, control situations, or obsessively repeat actions, these things can all drive to addictive tendencies. This often stems from an internal need to relieve stress or gain a sense of control. So, with this in mind, what we see, some common denominators, is that the need of immediate gratification is a common denominator here. Addictive personalities often want quick results or immediate rewards, which can lead to a focus on short-term satisfaction rather than long-term well-being. This trait can be particularly problematic as an addiction often provides rapid rewards, reinforcing the behavior. Also, the persistent need of stimulation. People with this trait may feel bored or restless easily, which drives them to seek excitement or stimulation. They may be more likely to find solace in intense activities or substances that keep them stimulated or engaged. And also we see escapism, a tendency to avoid facing problems or discomfort directly is common in people with addictive personalities. They may turn to addictive behaviors as an escape from life's challenges, using them as a temporary refuge from pain or boredom.
Biological and environmental factors. Addiction is a complex phenomenon influenced by both genetic and environment. Research indicate that genetic can account for about 40 to 60% of the risk of addiction. Certain genes are associated with higher likelihood of developing addicted behaviors. For instance, genes that affect dopamine signaling and reward pattern can make individuals more sensitive to rewarding and pleasurable experience. The genetic vulnerability means that some people may experience more intense rewards from substances, making them more likely to seek out those experiences repeatedly. Dopamine response. Dopamine is central to the brain rewarding system, driving motivation, pleasure, and reinforcement of behaviors. In people prone to addiction, drug or addictive behaviors like gambling often lead to surges in dopamine. Over time, the brain adjusts to this increased dopamine activity by reducing the number of dopamine receptors, making it harder to feel pleasure from everyday activities. The shift drives people to seek out the addiction source more compulsively. Environment influences. A person's early environment plays a significant role in shaping their behaviors and mental health. Children raised in home where substance use is normalized or where they experience neglect or lack of supportive relationship may be more vulnerable to addiction later in life. Without positive role models or coping mechanisms, they might turn to substance as a form of self-soothing. Traumatic experience, particularly in childhood, can significantly increase the risk of addiction. Trauma often triggers chronic stress response and emotional dysregulation, leading individuals to seek out ways to numb or escape their pain. Drug or other addictive behaviors may offer temporary relief from the emotional consequence of trauma, but this coping mechanism can become habitual. Brain chemistry and recovery. In recovery, the brain chemistry can gradually adapt. Through it can take months or even years for dopamine levels and receptor sensitivity to return to baseline. This is why ongoing support, therapy, and positive environment change are essential to help individuals manage cravings and prevent relapse.
So there are also other types of addiction beyond substances, and we're going to look into some of them. Behavioral addictions can stimulate the brain's reward pathways in the same way as substances, leading to a similar cycle of dependency and withdrawal. This can be gambling addiction. It is often fueled by the thrill of taking risks and potential financial gain. This type can lead to severe financial and personal consequences. And the gaming addiction, video game addiction, especially to online gamers, can lead to neglect of personal responsibilities. It can lead to social withdrawal and even health risks. Shopping addiction. Compulsive buying can give a temporary mood boost, but it often leads to financial and emotional stress when it spirals out of control. Food addiction. While closely related to eating disorder, food addiction can involve compulsive eating, especially of highly palatable foods like those high in sugar or fats, and also exercise addiction. Over-exercising can sometimes stem from body image issues and can lead to physical injury, exhaustion, or interfere with daily life. We also have internet and social media addiction. Social media platforms, forums, and other digital spaces are designed to be engaging, often leading to compulsive use. A social media addiction means constantly checking social media for likes, comments, new posts, and it can lead to the feeling of inadequacy and compulsion to stay connected at all times. And internet addiction will mean excessively browsing, often for information or entertainment, and this can lead to neglect of real-world responsibilities. Another type of addiction is work addiction, workaholism, as we call it. And people with work addiction often derive their sense of identity and self-worth from productivity, leading to a compulsive need to work. While society sometimes sees overworking as a positive trait, it can harm relationships, mental health, and physical well-being. We also have relationship and love addiction. That can involve an obsessive focus on relationships or the desire to feel loved, which can lead to unhealthy dependency on partners and series of intense, often violent relationships, unfortunately. So love addiction is the focus on emotional high of falling in love rather than from forming a healthy bond. And another one is sex addiction, an unhealthy obsession with sexual experiences that leads to risky behavior and sometimes impacts personal life and relationships. Another type is a risk and thrill addiction. This type is marked by a craving for adrenaline and novelty, often manifesting in high-risk activities such as extreme sports, reckless driving, or even risky financial investments. And the last one we'll look into is the spiritual of self-improvement addiction. Sometimes it's termed self-help junkies. Individuals with this addiction constantly pursue self-improvement books, workshops, or spiritual practices in a way that becomes compulsive rather than meaningful. Recognizing all these types of addiction is important because they often impact life as severely as substance addiction. Understanding the factors behind non-substance addictions, like dopamine and the brain's reward system, can help identifying and managing these kind of behaviors.
And now over to brain chemistry and reward pattern. The core of addiction in the brain's reward system, particularly involving the neurotransmitter dopamine. When someone engages in activities, for example, taking drugs, gambling, is stimulated the release of dopamine, creating feeling of pleasure. Over time, repeat exposure change the brain as it learns to associate the activity with high level of dopamine release. Eventually, the brain adapts to those changes, requiring higher dose to achieve the same effect. A phenomenon called tolerance. Withdrawal symptoms can also arise because the brain has become reliant on that substance or behavior to maintain normal function. Physiological factors: impulsivity and low self-control. People who have a hard time delaying gratification or resisting impulse are more likely to develop addiction. Emotional regulation. Individuals with difficulty managing negative emotion, like stress, anxiety, and depression, may turn to addictive behaviors for relief. This creates a cycle where the addictive behaviors become a coping mechanism. Cognitive distortion. Addictive thinking includes patterns like need this to feel better or one more time won't hurt. Those distractions reinforce the habit and prevent break free. Genetic predisposition. Research shows that genetics play a significant role in addiction. If someone has a family history of addiction, they may be more likely to develop one themselves. Cycle of addiction. Many addictive behaviors follow a cycle. Trigger, and that can be stress or negative emotion. Then you have craving, and then you have use, then relief, and then you feel guilt and remorse, and then you repeat. Breaking this cycle is often the focus of therapeutic inventions, as it helps individuals recognize trigger and develop healthier coping mechanisms.
And now we'll look more into the therapy for this. I am a social worker and I've been working with substance abuse and different type of addictions for several years, taking my bachelor's degree as well as specialities within the topic. And there are different types of therapy we use. Cognitive behavioral therapy is one. Motivational interviewing is another one. And also medication-assisted treatment can help people manage these cravings and cope with triggers, and also retrain their brains for recovery. So something we use a lot is dialectical behavioral therapy. It emphasizes emotional regulation, mindfulness, and distress tolerance. This is especially helpful for people with impulsive or self-destructive tendencies. And the motivational interviewing is a technique that helps us build motivation within the person we're working with for change that comes from within by exploring the individual's goals and values and motivations. This can encourage them to make positive life choices, and support groups is another good strategy. The 12-step programs like the Anonymous Alcoholics or Narcotics Anonymous have several groups like this, as Joakim was talking about when he was telling his story. They offer peer support and a structure and accountability. Having a group therapy provides a shared journey which can reduce the feelings of isolation. And there are also other support groups that does not belong to the 12-step model, like the Smart Recovery and Refugee Recovery. They also focus on self-improvement and practical tools rather than a higher power. Mindfulness and meditation is also very beneficial, the therapy form for this. We have mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. This helps reduce stress and enhance self-awareness, making it easier to recognize and manage cravings as they arise. We also have mindfulness meditation. Techniques like breath work and body scans increase awareness of triggers, and it reduces the impulse to act on them. Practicing mindfulness has been shown to reduce relapse rates by promoting emotional stability. Also, exercise and physical activity can help. Aerobic exercises like running, swimming, or cycling release endorphins, which can provide a healthy dopamine boost. Regular exercise also help improve the mood and relieve stress and cravings. And for example, weightlifting, the resistant training does not only improve the physical health, but also it builds mental resilience. Setting and achieving fitness goals can help boost self-confidence, and the ripple effect of this are huge. And it is very important to create hobbies and healthy outlets. When you remove something from your life, you need to bring something new of value into your life. And for example, we can use art and music therapy to create outlets like painting, drawing, writing, or playing an instrument, because this can help express emotions in constructive ways, offering a release for stress and helping individuals process their experiences. And also journaling, writing about experiences, thoughts, and feelings related to addiction can help individuals better understand their journey and serve as a tool for tracking progress and triggers. And if you learn new skills, taking up a new hobby or pursuing an interest can give you a sense of purpose and accomplishment. It can reduce the urge to engage in addictive behaviors. And also lifestyle changes and self-care is very beneficial as a therapy form. To establish a routine, consistent daily habits provide structure and stability, which can help prevent impulsive decisions. Incorporating activities like healthy meals, sleep, and regular social interactions can create a balanced lifestyle. Nutritional support, meaning having a balanced diet, can also regulate mood and energy, reducing the vulnerability to cravings.
To reflect upon this topic, we will give you our thoughts on it. So, for myself, I have a addicted personality. Pros, I get a lot of things done on a short time, can learn very much, and became quickly good at things I just started to learn myself because I put so much time and energy in it. And things get very excited and interesting when I go all in things. Give me a lot of good feelings, excitement, and it feels very good when I work hard. And I stay in the zone. I get the tunnel vision and laser focus, and I get good results because I can go very hard for a long time and I forget everything else when I do it. So that's some pros with it. But coins, I often drive myself too hard, and the result in that is have a lot of burnouts, and I use so much time on the things I go inside in that it became less on others area, which also is important. And about alcohol, I went all in that also, and became an alcoholic. Drank so much and so hard. Was always in a rush to drink, and I became so addicted that I lose myself and I changed as a person. Lose good values, isolate myself a lot, and the joy of life became less and less every day. Much bad and crazy things happen. So that's when you get addicted to the wrong things. Yeah, it can take your life on a very bad ways. That's very dangerous. So you have to look out for that. I am very lucky. I still can sit here with my health, head and body is still fine. So a little recommendation: do not get addicted to the wrong things. And if you get that special about alcohol, drugs, gambling like this, you need to go in rehab because you have to get treatment for it. Because if you have it and you just, for example, you stop drinking and you start to do something else, then you move yourself from one addiction to another one. And then you stop drinking and you just train all the time. But if something happened and you stop to train, then it's so easy to go back to the drinking again. So when you're gonna stop an addiction, you have to take treatment for them. And then you can also start with something else, but you have to treat it so you are finished with it. So you not get a relapse. If you absolutely have to be addicted to something, then be addicted to the right things. Here are some areas we recommend everyone to work on to get a better life. Health and fitness, wealth and finance, wisdom and knowledge, family and relationship, and spirituality. If you work on all those areas, I will guarantee you that your life will improve a lot and it will become so much better. So I recommend you to dig deeper into this area. I will say them one more time because they are so important. Health and fitness, wealth and finance, wisdom and knowledge, family and relationship, spirituality.
Those are great tips. And according to everything we've been looking at today, we know that there are some factors of vulnerability to develop addiction. It can be, as we have looked into, genetics, environment, bad self-esteem, bad at coping stress, bad tolerance of boredom. And what I see is like a common denominator to solve these things is to work on yourself. You are the greatest tool that you'll bring along throughout your entire life. When you are in your biggest challenges, oftentimes you will be alone. So how do you cope with stress? What choices do you make? Every day you will get either closer to your goal or further away from it. And all the decisions you make will bring you on a path, either the right one or the wrong one. So it is extremely important to take responsibility for your life. And also what I want to talk about is that we are responsible for our children, because prevention is more efficient than reparation. And of course, we have been talking a lot about therapy today, how we can repair this. So now I'll talk more about the prevention side of it. You see the common denominators on vulnerability to develop addiction. So if we help our children have a good relationship to their own feelings. We give them a good self-esteem. We help them cope with stress. We help them cope with their emotions. As we know, if children grow up in a home that is unsafe, they are scared, they never know, it's very unpredictable, they never know how things will be, it is such a high level of stress in their bodies, and that will make it easier to develop an addiction later on in life. So we as parents, I am not a parent yet, but I'm talking on behalf of future mom Annika. How will I focus, and how do I focus now with the youths that I work with, or with my niece and nephew? And it is a lot about that, giving love, giving care, being a safe guardian, focusing on building them up as the champs that they are, boosting their self-esteem, helping them coping with stress, helping them coping with these difficult emotions, so they will be able to work on it on their own when they face challenges.
Absolutely. A lot of great advice here.
And as we were talking about, both me and Joakim have these personalities where it's very easy to tap into this addictive behavior. We go 101%. And as we've been talking a lot about in this podcast, for us, it has many benefits. It helps us achieve success. It helps us stay disciplined. It helps us get the best out of life. But we have also talked about how it has been some downfalls for us. Joakim told his story with alcohol addiction, how alcoholism became as a tornado in his life. And I've been telling you a lot about my burnouts and how my ups and downs in life has been very difficult. My downs has been deep and dark, and it has been difficult. And that is the flip side of it. So it is important to work on these aspects that Joakim just told you, and to choose a better path, to not be addicted to things that control you, but choose to have all your focus in good things like sports or business or things that are good for you, and then be aware of your vulnerabilities. Me and Joakim still talk to each other every week and keep each other on track and have accountability partners in each other to help each other in all ways, to stay afloat and to do the best thing we can, and to not go into burnouts again.
Absolutely. Have to do what we can to prevent it happen again, yeah. Always talk together, give good advice, and have to remember ourselves on a lot of the mistake we have done, so we don't do it again. Because it's easy to forget when it go a little while. You just go on and 101%, and it can be your downfall again. So you have to be careful.
That is very true, and it is important to have passion. Passion is great, and it brings us purpose to life. But be careful not to let your passion become your illness, and be true to yourself. If you have an addiction that controls your life, your addiction has more value in your life than other things. You're starting to become less and less yourself. You're prioritizing your addiction in front of other things that used to have value before. That is very scary, and that means you are going in a wrong path. Addiction is a scary thing, so please, if you're struggling with it, please reach out and get help for it. And also remember all of the things that we've been talking about today, about creating good habits, fueling your own time with things that's positive for you. That will help you stay on the right track.
Good advice.
And also, I just want to say that I think many high achievers has addictive personalities. I've listened to so many people, icons of me, that talk about this, that if they would not be an athlete, they would be an alcoholic or a substance abuser. And I definitely understand it. I think that you have a superpower within yourself, and if you focus on the right things, you will achieve your goals. But if you are distracted and you get addicted to the wrong things, unfortunately, it will hold you back and it will create so much trouble for you. So being an addict is very tough, and I hope that everyone will reach out their hand and get help, get on the right path and do the right things in life, because addiction will create so many difficult problems for you.
Absolutely. It's a very tough life for you as an addicted, and also a very tough life for the people who care and loves you, people around you. So do everything as you can to avoid it, and if it happens, take responsibility and seek help, get into rehab, work on yourself and fix the problem, and get your life better for yourself and your family and everyone around you who loves you, because you and your family and everyone around you deserve that.
And I read a quote one day that says, keep working on yourself because you are the greatest project you will ever work on. Reset as many times as you need, but always work on yourself. And those are very important words that goes well with everything we've been talking about today.
That's a great quote. And here I have another quote. If you would like to support this podcast with a small donation so we can keep growing the show and make this podcast better for you guys, we have some donation link on our homepage, the 101%podcast.com. The person signed you have to write with letters. You can donate with PayPal, debit, and credit card. We also have Vipps for the Norwegian, Swedish, Denmark, and Finland. And we also take crypto donation. We appreciate all donation. Thank you so much for you supporting this podcast, and hope you did learn a lot, and it was good and entertaining for you also. We appreciate you so much that you will listen, and we keep growing, and we will promise you we will try to make every episode better and better. Thank you everyone for you keep coming back. It means a lot to us. So today's episode was recorded November 13, 2024. In our next episode, we will talk about how to raise our children, where I am telling my secret on how I raise my daughter.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram on this podcast account, the 101% podcast. If you like this episode, make sure to share this podcast episode with a friend and review the show on Apple Podcast. Thank you to all the audience for listening. We appreciate you all a lot. Hope that you will come back and listen to our next episode. Until next time, take care and give it your best.